Sanibonani, welcome to Initiating Insight with Sibongile. Substance abuse can simply be defined as a pattern of harmful use of any substance for mood-altering purposes. Today we are talking about substance abuse, and to do that we are joined by Ms. Tibello Mkondo to tackle this further. Ma'am, welcome.
Thank you.
Ms. Tibello, you want us to talk about substance abuse today. Why?
I think the main reason is for us to start talking about the problem that we're facing, that is substance use disorders, that's affecting our communities, it's affecting our families, it's affecting our youth, it's affecting our children and everybody.
When I was doing research around substance abuse and getting the definition, and my definition was simply defined, but I hear through my reading that experts do not agree on a particular definition. What can be rocket scientific about defining what substance abuse is? Isn't it when you abuse something?
Yeah, it's substance use disorders, in fact.
Yes, ma'am, I'm listening.
Substance use disorders, it means that it's a disease, it's an illness. So that affects you both physically and also psychologically.
You're not born with this illness, are you?
No, you're not born with the illness.
Okay.
Yes, you're not born. It's because of the substances that you are taking that leads you to then develop the substance use disorder.
So you've abused this substance?
Yes.
Okay. So we do agree, in a nutshell, what substance abuse is?
Yes.
Okay, cool. How prevalent is it in South Africa?
It's a serious problem for the country. It's a serious problem for South Africa, and Gauteng as well. It's experiencing unacceptable levels of substance use disorders. We're seeing more and more of our young children that are reporting for treatment, that are requesting treatment at our treatment facilities because they are affected by substance abuse.
Okay, so you're saying you want us to talk about it because it's a problem?
Yes.
It's a problem, so what do you want us to do with it?
The main thing is for us to educate our communities so that they should know the negative effects of substance abuse and that they can make informed decisions. More especially our young people. We need them to know that this is what substance abuse do to you, substances do to you, and this is what we need to do if you have maybe someone who's using substances at home.
So how do you go about this education?
We are doing mainly prevention and awareness programs as the department. In fact, there are different levels of intervention. We start with prevention and awareness to prevent those who have not yet started using substances.
They're all saying prevention is better than cure.
Yeah, so we educate them so that they know the negative effects of substances. We build their capacity, their skills, and children more especially how to, say no to issues of peer pressure and all that through various programs that we are implementing as the program. We've got a program called Kemoja, Drug Prevention Program, that we are implementing mainly in schools, and also it's also targeting our youth that are out of school. The main aim of that program is to build the capacity of the youth and make them, aware of the negative effects of substances, and also just to teach them to be resilient and to say no to drugs.
So this program that you are running as a department, are you partnering with any entities at all?
Yes.
Kemoja particularly?
Yeah, Kemoja, we are partnering with the Department of Education because it's done mainly in schools. And we also...
Oh, Kemoja is mainly for schools?
No, it's for schools and out of school youth.
Okay.
Yes. So for schools, we partner with the Department of Education and also the non-profit organizations. Like the Sankas, there are quite a number of organizations that we fund as the department to assist us to implement the Kemoja program in schools. So that's the first level of intervention. And from prevention, then we'll go down to what we call early intervention level. The early intervention level is the level that targets the high-risk groups. Those who are maybe starting to experiment. You know, our youth can be curious at times. You find that they want to start, do what their friends are doing and all that. So we've got programs targeting those that are termed high risk, but they are not yet deeper into using substances, but they've started, using. So there are those programs. We've got diversion programs. We've got social workers that are also working in schools that run
diversion
groups.
Program.
A diversion program is a program that targets children that in the main are in conflict with the law. They've committed crimes and then they are diverted.
By means of this substance abuse, that is?
Yes. Okay. Instead of going deeper into the criminal justice system, then they are diverted if they are having problems. After the social worker assess them and they realize that maybe they think doing things that they're doing because of substance abuse, then those children will be diverted to a program to be treated or, to deal with their a problem. So that's a diversion program. It's not only for substance abuse, it's for a lot of other, it's used for all other, programs as well.
Okay, you were still telling us when I rudely interrupted, asking to explain to us what a diversion program is, because we don't want to take things for granted that we understand what it is that you're talking about. A diversion program could be anything.
Yes.
So it's those diversion programs, and what else?
Then you'll have group sessions with those learners, that are kind of experimenting, that maybe the educators feels that this one are the naughty ones, naughty ones in school. They will then say, social development, please, we've got problems with these learners. Can you please, work with them? And then we'll have those groups before they go deeper into addiction.
We'll be right back. Please stay tuned. Welcome back to Initiating Insight with Sibongile. If you've just joined us, we are talking about substance abuse, and we are still joined by Ms. Tibelo Mkhonto, and now we are also joined by the beneficiary of their services, Mr. Bongani Mthembu. And before we went on a break, Ms. Mkhonto was telling us about the levels of interventions they run as a department. Please continue, because we were interrupted by the break.
Okay, the next level after early intervention is what we call treatment. Treatment level, that's where we provide holistic treatment services for people who are affected by substance abuse. So we don't only work with people who are addicted, we also work with their families, because substance abuse tend to then affect everybody who's staying with the person who's, affected by substance abuse. So as the department, we've got treatment centers. For those who can't afford to pay, we've got registered treatment centers across the province, so they can go there and be treated for free. And those who can afford to pay, we've got also registered but unfunded treatment centers. Those who have medical aid and cash, they can go there and and be treated.
Well, these treatment centers, are they the same centers that we call rehabilitation centers?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yes. Okay. So how many of those free ones do you have?
For inpatient treatment, because we've got different treatment options. For inpatient treatment, we are funding 13 inpatient treatment centers across the province. 13, yes, 13, and we've got one government treatment center that is in Kalinen. So all in all, the bed spaces at the treatment centers, including government, the funded and the government treatment centers, we've got 1,405 beds for people who cannot afford to pay. Who can go there, go to the Department of Social Development, and the social workers will do an assessment and refer them to those treatment centers without paying even a cent. So another option is for those who are working, for example, or for your children who are still in school, instead of removing them from the communities and taking them into inpatient treatment centers, they can be treated at community-based level. So those centers, we are funding outpatient, what we call outpatient services. We've got 19 throughout the province, and we've got 20 community-based services. So you go there, you can be treated, given medication, detox, for mild detox, you're given medication, and after that you go back to your work, or you go back to school, or you can go there after school or after work.
Okay, so
Yes.
those would be the outpatients.
Yes, the outpatient.
okay.
Yeah, you are still in community,
Yes.
but you go and attend therapeutic sessions
Yeah.
with the social workers. You see the nurses, you see the doctors, they give you medication and all that.
Okay, Mr. Bongani ungathi azokunakine.
Okay.
How did you benefit, or what is it that you benefited from the department?
Okay. Me, what I can say is that when I was still addicted, when I was still in active addiction, there was no way.
What is it that you were addicted to, if I may ask?
Okay. It was actually like three substances, if I can say. It was crystal meth, it was cat, and alcohol.
Okay.
Also, so I was addicted to those three, and my life was unmanageable, and I was powerless over those. And that's when I seeked for help, and I actually got help from these people. I actually had a problem going to rehab because most of the guys that came out of rehab, they went back to using. So I thought maybe if I can go to rehab, same thing is going to happen to me. So I was skeptical of rehab.
Oh, uzicabangele, it's
Yeah,
not what you
exactly.
experienced at the time,
Yeah.
because of what you saw,
Yes.
okay?
So now, because I was so desperate, I needed help. I said to myself, let me give it a chance. Let me give it a try. Let me see if it will work for me. You know, maybe it's not working for others, but probably can work for me. So I went to one of the outpatient rehabs, which is around my area in Tladi. I'm closest to Etladi, so
Soweto.
So yeah, in Soweto. So I went to Etladi. I found a social worker that I had to talk to. The good thing about it is that they actually knew what I was suffering from. I did not know that addiction is a disease. But when I got there, that's when I understood what I was suffering from, because there was a lot of things that were happening. I was stealing from home. The community was now changing for me. Like, I lost myself in that process of addiction. So when I went to that outpatient, there was a process that I had to follow. I had to fill in some forms, and I had to go through an assessment so that they can actually see if they can refer me to an inpatient rehab where I'm admitted, and then I probably stay there for like 42 days or something. It was 6 weeks when I went there.
At which point did you realize that you needed help? For how long have you been using these substances, if I may ask? And at which point did you actually realize, Guti, I need help?
Yo, I've been using substances for a long time. I can say half of my life, maybe. You know, since from high school I started using dacha, you know, and eskolweni, like using dacha, it's normal for anybody, you know. But then I did not know what is or escalate and go to the next level where I have to explore and experiment with other drugs. So and then it went to alcohol, that I started drinking a lot. But because now alcohol was not fulfilling anymore, because you know, there's this thing abati, it's a spiritual malady where you try to fill it with something else. So that's what was happening to me. I was trying to fill that spiritual void in my substances, and nothing was working still, because the more I went in, the deeper my addiction was. And as I continued using, because as it went along, I went to college, and then after college I found a job, and then loving sevenza corner, that's where addiction escalated kakhulu, because that's where
now you have income to can feed.
Exactly. Now I can be able to afford to buy myself those. And then I lost my job. So after I lose alone sebenzi, I had to find ways and means to get another fix. I had to feed my habit. So the only way I could do it was to steal and was to manipulate, because the best thing I could do was manipulate, lie my way through Wuting Tolel and Tengifuna.
Please hold it right there, Bongani. We need to take a break. Bongani is still going to answer our question. How did he get to that point at which he realized he needs help? Please stay tuned. Don't go away. Welcome Welcome back to Initiating Insight with Sibongile. If you've just joined us, we are talking about substance abuse, and with us we still have Ms. Tibelo Mkhonto and Mr. Bongani Mthembu. And before we went on a break, he was answering our question, Yoguti, how did he get to that place where he realized he needed help?
Thank you very much again for giving me this opportunity to share my experience with you. So it was at the point where I lost everything now. Like, basically, the family. Family was giving up on me. They washed their hands because there were so many complaints coming into the house, and I was taking things from the house. So now I was living in the streets because I had nowhere to stay.
Sure.
And at that point, my girlfriend had a baby at that point. It was the same month where I really made that decision to say that I need to change my life, because now there's a life that is now...
So you had created your own family as well as Bongani.
So now it was about time that I had to change my life, because I did not want to raise my daughter in an environment where there is drugs.
Sure.
So that's when I told myself, you know what, I've tried committing suicide, it never worked. I went on overdose, went to hospital, came back, but still...
It was not your time, Baba.
Yeah, exactly. So,
sure.
So now when I saw my daughter's eyes, it was as if she was talking to me and saying, Daddy, you need to change. So it was at that point where I made a decision to say, I need to change. So that's when I sought for help.
Sure. Ms. Tibelo, do you have aftercare programs?
Yes, for people like Bongani who have completed primary treatment, there are aftercare programs.
How long was Bongani's treatment?
He said 42 days.
42 days, yes.
It ranges. Other centers, it's 8 weeks.
Oh, okay.
Others
I was about to ask if it's standard value. Okay.
Yes. But after they've completed that primary treatment, either at inpatient or outpatient level, then they have to continue with aftercare programs. Because the aftercare programs assist them to maintain their sobriety. It assists them to at times to continue with the interventions with the social worker, or even go to the support groups such as Alcoholic, Anonymous, or Narcotics, Anonymous, so that at least they don't lose track and relapse and go back, into the, use of drugs again.
Any of you can answer this question. What are the chances of a rehabilitated addict staying sober forever after the process?
Okay, I can try and answer that. Because this is a disease, it's a progressive illness. So the only thing that we can do, we can actually arrest it by doing programs. There is programs like she said, yes.
Wow, interesting.
So this disease that we have is like a chronic disease. It's something that we are taking to the grave. So it's a daily reprieve. So every day you have to have tools on how to survive it, because at any time you can actually relapse. So we cannot say there's a certain time where you can actually say now you are done with addiction, you're no longer going to use. We cannot say that, because it's, like I said, it's a progressive illness. So at any time you can be triggered for you to go back and
so Bongani, you're telling us it's like digging a grave for yourself.
That's exactly what is happening.
Wow. Can I add to that as well, that the successful recovery also depend on you as an individual.
Sure.
Because if you can be treated in a structured environment like a treatment center, but when you come back, if you still hang out with the same people that were taking drugs with, the chances of you relapsing are very, very high.
So habits have to change.
Yes, you need to change your lifestyle completely. Things that you used to do, for example, you need to change and start focusing on new things and, develop goals, for yourself, so that you don't think of, doing drugs again, because the triggers will always be there. The places that you used to go to, for example, you cannot, if you are an alcoholic, you cannot still be going to, to the pub, or a shebeen, because the chances of you can stay maybe one day, and say you can resist for a day, but, who knows, the second day you might say, let me try, it won't help me, and that's where you're going back.
Sure. Any plans to lobby other government departments, Mr. Bell?
As the Department of Social Development, we are leading the campaign, and we are leading both prevention and treatment, interventions, but we are not working alone. We are working with various government departments to both reduce the demand for drugs in communities, Those departments are in, more like Department of Community Safety, Department of, Department of Sports, Arts and Culture, Department of Education. We're also working with the Department of Health because there are hospitals that are providing detoxification services to reduce the harm caused by drugs. We're also working with the South African Police Services, the Department of Justice, the National Prosecuting Authority.
Okay.
They are assisting us to reduce the supply of drugs in our communities. So it's quite a very integrated, program. We're not working alone. We're also working with communities because we cannot, win the fight alone.
Yeah.
We're working with other stakeholders like your FB, faith-based sector, the non-profit organizations, like I mentioned, earlier on, and quite a number of stakeholders.
Okay. Bongani, very quickly, what advice can you give out there to those who probably want to even begin?
Okay,
who think they can experiment and they will get away with it?
What I can say is that my best advice can be, or my suggestion can be, that don't pick up the first drug. Don't even try, because there's too much dangers in the first drug. When you put yourself in that position, you might not be able to stop. So don't try it at all. And to the still suffering addicts, there's still hope out there. I just want to let them know that they are not alone. So if they need help, they can actually go to these premises, like your rehabilitation centers. That's where the basics starts, because that's where I find my basis, where I was told on how to be able to maintain my sobriety, and that's how I was told how to recover, And to the community and the society, all that we need as addicts is your support, because tomorrow it can be your child that is suffering from the same thing. Instead of them beating us up or killing us, they are not actually solving the problem.
Sure.
So we need their support.
Thank you so much, Bongani, for sharing your story with us. And Mr. Bello, thank you so much. Because of time, this program is very short. We need to go. Thank you so much for having joined us. Until next time, please join the conversation on Facebook, Sibongile Mlangeni Initiating Insight. And the number is on the screen if you want to contact any department for social development. Take care and goodbye.